Welcome back to International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard. At the Gold Star Standard, reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the records and the dollars, and check it out. We're going to talk about the hotel industry today, the hospitality industry. What they're being told to look out for when it comes to sex trafficking / human trafficking, and also the millions of dollars currently being paid out to the victims of human trafficking by the hotel, motel, hospitality industry. Let's get straight off into this. Here we go. Human trafficking in the hospitality industry. Traffickers often take advantage of the privacy and anonymity accessible through the hospitality industry. Hotels and motels can be especially attractive locations for all forms of trafficking. However, human trafficking also occurs at sporting events, theme parks, cruise ships, and many other areas in the tourism industry. Staff are not necessarily educated on how to recognize and report signs of trafficking. So they saying the staff are not necessarily educated. So they don't know how to spot the sign. So this is what they are being told to look out for. Once again, millions of dollars are currently being paid out to the victims of sex trafficking. Here we go. Hotel and motel staff. Individuals show sign of malnourishment, poor hygiene, fatigue, sleep deprivation, untreated illnesses, injuries, and or unusual behavior. This is what they're telling the hotel and motel staff to look out for. These are the signs that they say should be looked out for victims of human trafficking in hotels and motels. Once again, they say individuals show sign of malnourishment, poor hygiene, fatigue, sleep deprivation, untreated illnesses, injuries, and or unusual behavior. Let's continue. Individuals lack freedom of movement or are constantly monitored. So they're saying they have a handler with them, I guess, moving around with them, and they can't move on their own individual freedom. Individuals have no control or possession of money or ID. I'm not sure how a person would know this. The hotel, motel staff would know this, but they are saying these are things to look out for, and these are being taught to hotel, motels, and holiday inns. Dig that. Here we go. Individuals dress inappropriately for their age or have lower quality clothing compared to others in their party. So this must be speaking about minors. These people out here dealing with sex trafficking minors, because it says individuals dress inappropriately for their age or have lower quality clothing compared to others in their party. These are things that the hotel, motel staff are being told to look out for. Okay, here we go. Let's move on to housekeeping. This is what is being told to housekeeping in the hospitality industry when it comes to sex trafficking. Here we go. Housekeeping, maintenance, and room service staff. Request room for housekeeping services, additional towels, new linen, but denies hotel motel staff entry into room. So they're saying these potential victims of trafficking may request room service, new towels, new linen for the bed, etc. But they will deny the hotel or the motel staff to enter the room, to change the sheets, change the beddings, change the towels, clean the room. They're saying these victims won't let them in. This is what they are being taught to look out for. Pay attention. Here we go. Presence of multiple computers, cell phones, pagers, credit card swipers, or other technology. They're telling the hotel motel staff to, hey, let it be known if you see multiple computers, cell phones, pagers, or other technology. This is very interesting. Here we go. Extended stay with few or no personal possessions. So they said, look out for victims that may have extended stays at these hotel rooms, but very little personal property or possessions. Once again, this is very interesting, and this is what is being told to the hotel motel staff. Y'all think this human trafficking, sex trafficking is a game? You think it's a joke?
Stop.
Hey, they looking to give a few of you guys 20 years or better. So y'all, hopefully you paying attention. Here we go. Excessive amounts of sex paraphernalia in rooms, condoms, lubricant, lotions, etc. They're being told to look out for sex paraphernalia in the rooms, condoms, lubricants, and lotions. So when these people are going in and out of rooms, they're actually looking around, seeing if they can find stuff on this list. This is very interesting. Let's move on. The concierge pick. Here we go. Concierge, bellman, front desk, security, and valet staff. This is what they are told to look out for. The same person reserves multiple rooms under high alert. They're looking for people, one person that reserves multiple rooms. That's something that I guess causes a red alert when it comes to these hotels and motels. Here we go. The room is rented hourly, less than a day, or for long-term stay that does not appear normal, whatever that means. But this is what the concierge, the bellman, the front desk security, and the valet staff are being told to look out for. Once again, rooms that are rented on an hourly basis, less than a day, or for long-term stays that do not appear to be normal. Let's continue. Here we go. Car parking lot regularly parked backwards, so the license plate is not visible. This is another thing being told to look out for. Cars that pull up into hotels and motels that park backwards, so the license plate is not visible. In some of these states where they don't have the license plate in the front and the back, some states just require the rear license plate. And they're talking about when the cars pull in backward where the plate is not visible, they're saying this is a red flag, and these are things that should be considered abnormal, and it may be sex trafficking involved. Let's continue. Here we go. Food and beverage staff. This is what is being told to the food and beverage staff regarding human trafficking / sex trafficking. They're being told to look for individuals loitering and soliciting male patrons.
Hello, friend.
They've been told to look out for this. Hey, she's loitering, she's just hanging out. And she's soliciting the males that's coming around. Keep an eye open and keep an eye on her. This is what they saying. Individuals waiting at a table or bar and picked up by a male trafficker or customer. They saying, pay attention. This is what's being told to the food and beverage staff. Once again, millions are currently being paid out from the hospitality industry to victims of human trafficking as we speak. While we're talking about that, we got a few stories on that. One individual received $40 million. Wow. Let's get straight off into this. Like I said, this is very interesting. Here we go.
A federal jury Friday found that a Decatur hotel must pay $40 million in damages because they ignored child sex trafficking going on right under their noses. The hotel in question is the United Inn and Suites that's on Memorial Drive. Attorneys in the case say it sends a strong message to hotels everywhere to not turn a blind eye to child sex trafficking. Here's Eric Mock with more.
Well, attorneys who represented this survivor of child sex trafficking here in federal court say this victory comes after a 5-year-long process and legal battle. They tell me it's likely the first verdict of its kind given in the state of Georgia, and they hope it sends a strong message to certain hotels that they can no longer turn a blind eye to this dark.
And they are talking about child sex trafficking. This is a case of child sex trafficking where $40 million was awarded to the victim. That's amazing. $40 million. Gonna change a lot of things that's going on in these hospitality industries with these lawsuits coming down. If they see something suspicious, they will be reporting it. If they see something suspicious, it will be looked into. Leave those kids alone. Leave those children alone. These hotels and motels will rather turn your goofy ass in for dealing with a minor than face millions and millions of dollars in lawsuits. Let's continue.
Trade.
I'm not surprised.
Not surprised, says Tyler Washington, to hear that child sex trafficking went on in the United Inn and Suites on Memorial Drive in Decatur. He used to stay here and knows a lot of people who still do. Friday, a federal jury handed down a verdict that the owners of the United Inn and Suites, Northbrook Industries Incorporated, have to pay $40 million in damages to a survivor who was sex trafficked there from 2018 to 2019.
They said a survivor that was sex trafficked from 2018 to 2019. And now they have to pay $40 million. You better take heed. Leave those children alone. Leave those kids alone. If they came this hard down, this hard on the hotels, what do you think they did to the trafficker that was trafficking a minor? Let's continue. Take it back a little bit. Let's go.
Damages to a survivor who was sex trafficked there from 2018 to 2019 when she was just 16.
It was pretty historic yesterday.
Patrick McDonough represented the survivor and says they made their case that hotel staff knew kids were being sex trafficked there and turned a blind eye because they were profiting from it. At trial, attorneys representing Northbrook Industries claimed hotel staff had no idea.
You heard that? They said the hotels profited from the child being sex trafficked. So they have to not turn a blind eye. Pay attention to what's going on in their industry, the hospitality industry. Because they're coming down hard on these hotels and motels. Once again, leave those kids alone. Leave the children alone. There's nothing player about trafficking a child. There's nothing cool about that makes you a pedophile. Let's continue.
What's happening there? McDonough says the evidence showed otherwise.
They're going up to the front desk. They're buying condoms. They're selling them at the front desk, condoms literally to children. So it was fairly egregious.
McDonough says at one point his client was sold for sex around 200 times in a 40-day period. It's a big win for someone who had to endure such intense trauma within those walls.
And I'm really happy for her, and it's going to change her life. And really, there's nobody I know, more deserving than someone who's been through this.
But more importantly, McDonough says it sends a strong message to hotels everywhere.
Punitive damage is a message and it's a statement to the hospitality industry. And what it says is, to run one of these hotels, you need to do your due diligence. There's a lot of great people that run great hotels and people do the right thing. It's just there's certain places out there, they decide they're going to put profits over people. And in this case, over children.
Now, we reached out to the United Inn and Suites. They told us the owner was not available for comment Saturday. And McDonough says, unfortunately, these types of cases against hotels are actually not uncommon. In fact, he's going to trial later this month on a very similar case.
You hear that? They said these type of cases on these hotels are not uncommon. They have been coming down hard on a lot of these hotels. You can see around the country, sex sting operations are going on in hotels everywhere. All you got to do is pay attention, see what's going on. They have these undercover operations state to state, city to city, especially where they say there is high volume of sex trafficking going on. Not just with child sex trafficking. This is what is being said. And this is why so much attention and emphasis are being put on these cases right now and these charges. And you heard what they said. The hotels don't want to pay out all that money. So they got an extra eye open right now. 2025 and beyond, there will be extra eyes open on what's going on. Y'all pay attention to what's going on out here. Here we go. Let's check this out. This is another case where millions were awarded to a victim. I believe she was a child at the time of sex trafficking. Here we go.
Hotel settled with a survivor of child sex trafficking for millions of dollars. The survivor sued the hotel, saying staff and owners turned a blind eye to her being trafficked there. It comes on the heels of a historic verdict against another hotel indicator for also ignoring signs of sex trafficking. Fox 5's Eric.
That's interesting. Both of these cases were out of Georgia. This one was Decatur, and I believe the other ones was also Decatur, the Atlanta area. Both of these cases were out of the Atlanta area. $40 million settlement. And on this one, check it out.
It comes on the heels of a historic verdict against another hotel indicator for also ignoring signs of sex trafficking.
And that other hotel that she speaks on is the one that was awarded $40 million. The victim was awarded $40 million.
Fox 5's Eric Mock spoke one-on-one with the survivor and her attorney and joins us now outside the hotel in question off Lawrenceville Highway.
Well, at the time of this trafficking, this was a Super 8 motel. Now it's an America's Best Value Inn, but it's still owned by Tucker Inn Incorporated, who now has to pay $6 million to this survivor for not lifting a finger to help her when she...
So this girl, she got $6 million. That's a total of $46 million so far on 2 hotels. There will be a lot more of these cases coming up as the survivors, the child survivors of these trafficking cases sue. So, and all eyes are on the hospitality industry right now. All eyes on the hospitality / tourism industries. Here we go.
She was being sex trafficked here as a child. By the time she was 15, Deshandra Hill said she was in a very vulnerable place.
I grew up not feeling love or cared for. I was mostly neglected growing up.
So she reached out to someone she thought she could trust.
I took it upon myself to reach out to my older sister on my dad's side. From there, she started trafficking me.
Her own half-sister started selling her for sex as a child in 2015. At one point, over a period of several days, she was sold to dozens of men here.
So the trafficker in this case was her older sister. Wow. She said on her dad's side, she reached out to her sister on her father's side, and she says that that was her trafficker. And she has been awarded millions. Take this back a little bit, and we're gonna let her tell her story. But once again, millions are being awarded as these cases are coming forward involving children sex trafficking in the hospitality industry. Here we go.
From there, she started trafficking me.
Her own half-sister started selling her for sex as a child in 2015. At one point, over a period of several days, she was sold to dozens of men here at this hotel off of Lawrenceville Highway, owned then and now by Tucker Inn Incorporated.
I felt like I was her slave for months on end, but I couldn't get away.
Luckily, police raided the hotel in September of 2015 and rescued her. Hill says she could have been rescued much sooner, but she says hotel staff and owners knew what was going on and did nothing to help her.
They saw me, but they didn't try to intervene at all.
Which is why, with the help of attorney Patrick McDonough, they sued Tucker Inn Incorporated.
If you're going to do this, turn a blind eye and allow children to be sold, you're going to be held accountable.
The case was about to go to trial, but after McDonough won a similar case last week, where the jury ordered a Decatur hotel owner to pay $40 million to the survivor, this hotel owner decided to settle for $6 million. McDonough says their attorneys pushed for the settlement to be confidential, but Hill refused and wanted it made public.
She wants to be able to bring awareness to this issue really nationally.
Hill wants other girls and women who are in her shoes to see this victory and know they too have a shot at getting justice.
I hope they're able to heal. I hope that they're able to find their voice. They still feel like they can't fight their way out of whatever they're going through, and that's not true. You're always able to fight.
Now, I called and spoke to one of the owners of Tucker Inn Incorporated, who told me they have no comment on the settlement or the case against them. Hill tells me this money is going to really help her and her son a lot, but she's also going to use some of it to found a home for girls who were trafficked as children like her.
She said it's going to help her and her son a lot. I'm sure it will. $4 million that she took a payout. She could have got more out of them. Y'all can see the seriousness of this child trafficking, how serious they're taking it. Not just on a criminal level, but also on a financial level. They're hitting these hotels and motels real hard. And if you choose to deal with a minor, choose to deal with an underage person in sex trafficking, you could receive up to life in prison. You could receive up to life in prison for dealing with a minor. Dealing with minors is a major problem. It needs to be stopped. International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard, at the Gold Star Standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the records and the dollars. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share the videos. And we will see you on the next one.